Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to my second Unity tutorial. So today I want to run you through animations and coding. So I selected this free character package. It obviously doesn't look the best because it's free, but it works for the certain demonstration that I want to show you today. So just go into the asset store, find a contract killer, and just import that. Or if you have your own different character package, you can import that. Obviously, there's lots of different character packages to choose from, but I'm just going to go with this simple contract killer. So once it imports, you're going to see that a new folder has downloaded, and in here we have the actual character. Now these are what you call prefabs, and a prefab is basically a compilation of different game objects that have all been mashed together. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to drag this prefab into our scene, like so. Now you may notice that the character is actually a little small, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to increase the scale by, let's say, 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Now it's looking somewhat bigger. We might want to rotate the character so it is facing this way. There we go. Something else we might want to do is we might want to move the main camera back. So we're just going to select the camera. I'm going to move it behind the character, like so. There we go. Let's just go ahead and rotate this real quick. And of course we might as well rotate it down a little bit. You can choose yourself how far up you want to have the camera. It's up to you. You could also, if you wanted to, mess around with the field of view. But for now we're going to stick to an easy 60. Then after that, let's go ahead and take a look at the animations which we have available for this character. So we're going to go back into this folder and we're going to go into animations. Now over here we have different animations that have been created, but if you go ahead and have a look at the contract killer, you've already got pre-attached things to this prefab, but I'm going to show you how to attach these things from scratch, and I'm going to show you a way so we have more control of the character ourselves, so we can do what we want with it. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to remove these components. Oh, we need to remove this component first, so we'll remove that component, and that component. So we're only left with the transform component. And now if we go ahead and we take a look at what we have a idle animation, and basically we need to extract this animation. Idle just means when the character is standing still. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on idle and we're going to Command D to duplicate. Now we've extracted the idle animation. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do the same with the run animation. Command D to duplicate. And we're going to go and do the same with the walk animation. So we've just extracted these three animations. Now what we want to do is we want to switch these animations to legacy mode. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to click on one, hold Command or Control to keep them selected. And now you're going to see that we're in the normal mode of the inspector, but if we switch to debug, there is an option to click legacy. Now what that does is when you switch back to normal, you can actually choose whether you want the animation to default, once, or loop. We're going to go for loop on every one of them. So idle loop, run loop, and walk loop. There we go. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to add the animation component to our controller. Add that in. Now let's go ahead and let's add in the idle animation. We go into animations, and size just means however many animations your character is able to display. So let's go for 3 animations because we only extracted 3, like so. And then let's just drag in the idle animation for element 0, the walk animation for element 1, and the run animation for element 2. Now, what that does is if you go ahead into the player, let's make sure we're on there. Alright, so when you hit play on that, you'll see that your character is actually animating right now. His head is moving around. You can see his head moving. So basically we have an animation working, but now we're going to need code to get these animations working together. So now what we're going to do for that is we're going to go back to this folder over here, and if you go take a look, you'll see that we actually have a legacy folder. So what we want to do for that is we want to go into idle. We want to extract idle again from the legacy folder. Gonna want and get run, so just select run, Command D on that, and go ahead and select walk, and Command D on that. Now we have our legacy animations over here, and what we want to do with that is we want to go into our contract killer, and we just want to override all of these animations with the idle animations, with the legacy animations. So have idle there, have idle there, have walk, and have run. This is just going to make a difference when it comes to scripting, which is what we're about to do now. So let's go back into our assets folder. Let's go ahead and let's create a scripts folder. So I'm just going to type in scripts. And just for the sake of staying organized, we're going to create another folder within that scripts folder. And we're going to call it characters. Characters. I know this model doesn't look great, but it's a free model, and there are plenty of other models which look better, but this is just so I can show you how it actually works. Now let's go ahead and create our first C# script. I'm just going to go ahead and call it car for character control. Alright, now when you download Unity, it's going to download with Visual Studio, so go ahead and open this in Visual Studio. Now that it has opened in Visual Studio, you will see that we have our C# usual layout. Now for this certain script, we're not going to need our void start, so we can go ahead and we can actually delete that. So just go into there, like so. Also, this, when it has two slashes in front of it, it means Unity can't actually read this. This is just for us to make notes. So we can just go ahead and delete that too, because it doesn't really matter. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to link to our player. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a public. Let's go down one more. Our public game object. And we're going to call it the player. Next, we're going to create a bool for is running. A bool is basically just a true or false value. So we're going to have it either tick if the player is running or not. And we're just going to have a public float. A float is just a type of number. We're going to have a float for the horizontal move, which means whether the player is moving on the x-axis, or for the vertical move, which means whether the player is moving on the y-axis. So vertical move. There we go. Now after that, we can go ahead and just delete one line, and we can go into our void update. So in the void update, we want to start with an if statement. So if input dot get button, and we want to go ahead and reference the horizontal, or, now the way you do or in coding is you just write two lines like so, or input dot get button vertical, like so. Then we want to go ahead and open curly brackets onto that. Go ahead and press enter. And then what we want to do with that is we want to reference the player dot get component. Like I said in the inspector, every part is a component. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our animation controller. I'm going to need spiky brackets for that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to write animation. Going to go ahead and we're going to open brackets dot, and we're going to put on play, and we want it to play our run animation. Run. This is just the first version of the script. We're obviously going to improve the script later on. So now we want to go ahead and we're going to reference our horizontal move. So you can see it highlighted it right there. We want to go for input dot get axes. And we want it to get the horizontal axes. So go ahead and write in horizontal. Also, if we make any errors, it's going to tell us in the console. We just want to multiply that by time dot delta time. There we go. And let's go for a value like 150. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the same with our vertical move. So that's going to equals input dot, oh no, wants to update, can't be bothered to update now, get axes vertical, and after that we're going to have it multiply by time dot delta time, and for this one we're just going to go for a simple value of 8. Now we're going to say that is running. The bool which we just created is a true. Just going to leave it as true. And we're going to transform dot rotate. There we go. We're going to have our x as a 0, our y as a 0, but, oh no, have our x as a 0, our y as a horizontal move, and our z as a 0. There we go. Gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the exact same but for translate. Transform.translate. And we're gonna go ahead and have our x as a 0, our y as a 0, and our z as a vertical move. There we go. Go down into our else statement, and for our else statement we're just gonna have open curly brackets if we can. There we go. Hit enter on that, and our else is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to reference the player dot get component. I'm going to go ahead and grab our animation component again. Shit, I don't know if I wrote it properly. There we go. Shit. Need to close that. Boom. And once ahead, open this. Oopsie daisy. And just go ahead and play our idle animation. So if the player is not running, we just want our player to be standing still. So play. Fucking hell, I can't write for shit today. Idle. Go ahead and close brackets on that one. And then, of course, if the player is standing still, we want our is running to be false. And I think that's going to conclude this particular script. So we're just going to hit save on that. We're going to head back into Unity. Now, if we have any errors, they should show up in the console, but no errors. We're going to go ahead into our contract killer. And head into project, and we're just going to drag in the char control. Now the player game object is just going to be contract killer, and this is what we've written. This is the true false value which it takes by itself. This is the horizontal move and the vertical move. So let's go ahead and let's hit play on that, and now you can see that we got our player to move. Also, something we might want to do is we might want to actually link the camera to our player so the camera follows our player when we want it to. And now if we hit play, you can see that we've created a sort of template for the way our player is going to move, and we can go ahead and refine this in the next episode. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped you somehow, and good luck, take care, and peace. See you soon.